Good day, here are the headlines from the Philippine News Agency. Our top story on this Friday, there has been a slight improvement in the purchasing power of consumers with a slight easing of the country's inflation figure. According to the Philippine Statistics Authority, the Philippines' headline inflation or overall inflation eased to 3.7% in June from 3.9% in May. This brings the national average inflation from January to June 2024 to 3.5%. In June 2023, the inflation rate was higher at 5.4%. It says the downtrend in overall inflation in June 2024 was primarily influenced by the slower annual increment of housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels at 0.1% during the month, down from 0.9% in May 2024. Also contributing to the downtrend were the slower annual increases in the indices of transport, which recorded 3.1% in June 2024 compared to 3.5% in May, and restaurants and accommodation services, which saw 5.1% inflation in June 2024, down from 5.3% in the previous month. Following the trend at the national level, the inflation rate in the National Capital Region also decelerated to 2.3% in June 2024 from 3.1% in the previous month. In June 2023, the inflation rate in the area was recorded at 5.6%. The lower inflation rate in NCR was mainly influenced by the year-on-year decrease of 1.7% observed in housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels in June 2024 compared to a 1.9% annual increase in May 2024. Also contributing to the deceleration of inflation in the area was the slower inflation rate reported in restaurants and accommodation services at 3.7% during the month, down from 4.1% in May 2024, and transport at 2.9% in June 2024, down from 3.4% in the previous month. Meanwhile, inflation in areas outside NCR was observed at 4.1% in June 2024, which was the same annual rate recorded in May 2024. In June 2023, the inflation rate in these areas was higher at 5.3%. Higher annual increases were recorded in the indices of food and non-alcoholic beverages at 6.3% in June 2024, up from 6.1% in the previous month, and housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels at 0.7% during the month, up from 0.6% in May 2024. Shifting gears now, in response to recent tensions in the West Philippine Sea, the Armed Forces of the Philippines said they will respond appropriately if incidents similar to the recent harassment by China Coast Guard personnel occur again. During an interview after the first semester command conference with President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. in Camp Aguinaldo on Thursday, AFP Chief General Romeo Browner Jr. says that under the rules of engagement, a person has the right to defend himself in any manner. This means that should someone attack, they will apply the same level of force to defend themselves. Browner emphasized the principle of proportionality, saying they will not resort to excessive use of force, so they will not shoot them. He also assures Filipino troops would never allow themselves to be bullied and will remain committed to their mandate. The June 17 incident saw Filipino troops threatened with knives and other pointed weapons by CCG personnel who aimed to disrupt a resupply mission to the Philippine naval vessel BRP Sierra Madre in Ayungin Shoal. The Chinese personnel also looted and damaged Philippine rigid hull inflatable boats used in the mission. Meanwhile, Browner has ordered the inclusion of Philippine flag patches on the battle dress uniforms of Filipino soldiers. The move seeks to strengthen patriotism and unity in the military, as well as highlight the AFP's commitment to protecting Philippine sovereignty and territorial integrity. Philippine flag patches were previously worn by AFP personnel only during exercises with foreign military counterparts, such as the Balikatan and when stationed abroad. The Philippines is working with China to reach an understanding or a possible agreement to resolve the issue of Ayungin Shoal. Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo says among the topics of the July 2, 9th Bilateral Consultation Mechanism meeting was the current situation in Ayungin Shoal, where tensions have flared amid China's disruption of Philippine resupply missions. Manalo says the two sides are making progress despite many other issues. He says if the talks prosper, this could be the first formal measure the two sides would agree on with regard to the Ayungin shoal. In their separate readouts, the Philippines and China said they agreed to de-escalate tensions in Ayungin shoal without prejudice to their respective positions. The DFA earlier said only President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. can approve or authorize deals related to the West Philippine Sea and the South China Sea. Meanwhile, Armed Forces Chief General Romeo Browner Jr. said he hopes the Philippines would sign a key defense pact with Japan soon. These as Japanese Defense Minister Minoru Kihara and Foreign Minister Yoko Kamikawa are set to meet with their counterparts in Manila on Monday. Browner says he hopes that Manila and Tokyo would sign a reciprocal access agreement which would allow for the deployment and training of troops on each other's territory. The two countries began negotiating the pact in November. Meanwhile, Japanese Ambassador Kazuya Endo says Tokyo appreciates Manila's position to commit to the peaceful settlement of disputes in the South China Sea. He says Japan is also watching the talks between Manila and Beijing closely. In other news, the Philippines would soon be able to acquire vaccines against the African swine fever. Agriculture Secretary Francisco Tiu Laudel Jr. says the vaccines from Vietnam are guaranteed to be effective against ASF. Tiu Laudel says the DA and the Food and Drug Administration have been working closely toward its release for commercial use. He adds the approval of the commercial trial of the ASF vaccines is expected to be released by the FDA in about 2 weeks. Besides the approval of the vaccines, Tiu Laudel cited the need to tighten border control measures to prevent the entry and spread of ASF and other diseases such as bird flu and Q fever. Earlier, the DA announced that it will open CEFAS or cold examination facilities for agriculture, which will act as inspection facilities for imported agricultural products. One CEFA will be operated in Bulacan in January or February 2025, followed by the establishment of other facilities in Subic, Manila, Davao, and General Santos City. Congestion in the country's prison facilities has decreased significantly following the release of close to 12,000 persons deprived of liberty, according to the Department of Justice. DOJ Undersecretary Jesse Andres says 11,940 PDLs have been released as of March this year since the start of the Marcos administration. Andres says these PDLs were freed with the help of the Public Attorney's Office. He also adds as of May 2024, overcrowding in prisons have been substantially reduced to 239% from the previous 300%. Andres adds this is a result of the administration's sweeping reforms in the justice system. These include streamlining the prosecution process and case buildup and preventing the filing of weak harassment and nuisance cases, and the institutionalized cooperation between law enforcement agencies and prosecutors in investigating crimes. Andres also said the conviction rate of prosecutors for cases filed before the courts has reached 93.5%. And that's the latest and the biggest stories on the Pna Headlines. For more news updates, please visit our website pna.gov.ph or our Facebook and X account, Philippine News Agency. The Pna Headlines is also streamed via the Servicio Facebook page. You may also watch the Pna Headlines through the Philippine News Agency's YouTube account and via the News and Information Bureau website at nib.gov.ph under PNA News. I'm Benj Bondok. This is the Pna Headlines, bringing stories that unite the nation.